Hi there, so we're going to talk briefly about a kit list today and the alternatives that you can use if you don't have any of that particular pieces of equipment. So let's start with sliders. Alright, so your sliders look like this. They are not massively expensive and you can get them on Amazon or any other of those kind of stores online, and they've got a kind of a squidgy side and they've got a hard side. And it depends on the surface that you're using them as to which side that you can use on the floor. So if I was working on my wooden floor, I'd put them the black side down and use them. So if you don't have any, what can you use? You can either use some really nice fat fluffy socks. If you've got those grippy socks, that's the kind of thickness, and then just turn the grippy over so that the grippy is on the top of the foot and the bottom can slide nice and easily. You want to keep contact with the floor. If you don't have any of those kind of socks, two folded tea towels. I would fold it into four and have them, or you can use paper plates left over from Christmas and birthdays. So the paper plates go on the floor. Okay, the ball of your foot goes into the center of the plate, and then you can use those. I'm going to put my body here so you can see, just as I do with my sliders. Okay, so they can be all that we need. Okay, so that slider's done. Okay, the other piece of kit that I absolutely love is the ball. It's a Pilates ball. So it's about 8, I think they come in at 8 or 9 inches. They have an amount of resistance on them, and they are brilliant for between the thighs, under the back, behind the neck, lots of things. If you don't have one of these, a little cushion with a good amount of, again, it's not too squishy, all right? So something like that could work. It's not got as much, obviously, give, so you're not going to get as much gain out of it, but it will work, okay? And similarly, just under the spine, it will just give you that tiny little bit of elevation. What you don't want to do is get one of your nice cushions, because it's just too big and it's too bulky, so you need something a little bit smaller. But a kid's ball, you know, one of those just little children's balls that you used to be able to get, not a heavy football, but something a little bit lighter, that would work a treat as well. So that's my second in my kit list, my ball. Okay, so bands, right. These are just such a great piece of kit that you should probably try to get in your kit list. Get the material ones if you can, because they are just so much better at not rolling down or sliding up and becoming like an elastic band. So these are the ones I use, and you really do want to look at getting different resistances. Can you see that they go down in size? Because this black one is a lot, has got a lot more resistance on it, so it's smaller. And it's not that you always feel that you're strong, so you can always use the black resistance band. Often, actually, you're going to get the most gain out of the weaker resistance, the lighter resistance, because of the type of movement that you're doing. So you really do want to get the three different kinds of resistance to use. If you don't have them, you don't need them, you don't want them, but you do have one of these. It's not ideal, but you can, particularly if we're doing the step outs, you can place it around the thighs. You can just do one, you don't have to do a knot, just do one tie, get it to where you want it, and then make sure you get a good grip on the hands, okay? Making sure though that the problem is that this doesn't happen, that the back is out, okay? And you can use that as your resistance band, okay? Similarly, when we're going down to the floor with these, and maybe you're doing something that's more about the upper body, and we're taking this here and we're reaching, yeah, that obviously can also be done with one of these. Okay, so you're just taking both of them in one hand, exactly the same again. Okay, so something, the band has just got to have an amount of resistance. If you're getting these, make sure you get quite a good quality one, because and they don't have any tears in them at all, because they can rip and then they ping and they hurt quite a lot. All right, so then weights. You've got obviously your smaller weights, your dumbbells, your little hand weights. Okay, so if I don't have any of these, or I can't get hold of any of these, then the possibility is 2 little tote bags that you can use. And in these ones, I've just put books in them. Okay, so if I'm going for lighter, then I take the big book out, or the big books out, and I just have the smaller, lighter one in it. Similarly on the other side. So then what I can do, it's nice and light. I can wrap this around, and I have these 2 here, up and down. I just want to make sure that they are the same weights on each side. So they can be used like this. They can be used like this. We're not going to knock ourselves on the head anywhere. This is all fine. And even behind us, some nice rows here. We can do those, okay? Obviously, you can use cans. You can use cans of beans, of pulses, yeah, so that they would just be in the hand, same thing. They would be better if you're doing things elevating above the head or anything like that, because obviously the bags of books, you're not going to be wanting to push them above the head in case they bump down on your head. So cans of beans are really great for anything that is just holding up lots of movements. Yeah, anything that's coming overhead, something like that, okay? Cans of beans usually weigh about 400 grams, so yes, they are not very heavy, but it just gives you a little bit of extra something in your workout. Okay, so then if I'm wanting to push a little bit heavier, I might get something like this, so getting a bag with some straps on, and filling that book with, filling the bag with all your books, all right? Or as much books as you want to gain that heavy weight. So let's say I can fit about 3 or 4 books in here. I weight it up. There's a few different things I can do with this. I can hold onto the straps, yeah, at the front of my body, and I can do some nice squats. Yeah, I can make sure that I'm holding it nice and firmly from the front, above the head, down, down. Yeah, good. I can even almost do a sort of deadlift with this. Yeah, it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it is something. Okay, so I can use that there. The other alternative, of course, is to put it on either the front or the back of the body, and then your whole workout can be done with that slight weight on the back. Yeah, and then we could do some squats here. I've got that resistance, I've got that weight on me. Okay, so however you want to work. Again, you could have that weight on your back, as long as it's nice and firm, okay, and it's just meaning that you've got that extra bit of strength to work against. So here I could use my leg lifts, but I've got that weight on my back, okay? So my kit list would be heavy weights or my bag of books. And when I talk about heavy weights, ideally I would have a set of 5 kilogram, 7.5 kilogram and two 10 kilograms to work up towards. And kettlebells, I would do this, I would maybe have an 8, you could have a 6, an 8 and a 12. They would be quite good ones to have in your kit list and your repertoire. Smaller hand weights, depending on where you're at in your fitness journey. So maybe some 1.5s, 2s, definitely you want 2.5s, maybe up to 3s. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about with lighter weights. And then if you don't have those weights and you can't get hold of them, then just weigh your potatoes in your bags or your books in your bags to make sure that you've got about the right sort of weight for you to be using, all right? And then we've got our bands, our 3 different kinds of resistance, or our long band. And obviously the long band, you can just change the resistance on that in terms of how much you hold on. So obviously if I go nice and wide here, yeah, there's a lot less resistance on me there to if I shorten my grip on that band to there. So that is a lot harder, okay? So again, I can change my resistance from where I place my hands. Then I have my sliders or my paper plates or my tea towels or my lovely thick socks. And then I have the ball. And this is my little kind of, I love this. And they're really not very expensive and they are worth getting, all right? But again, if you don't have anything like that, a nice kind of firm-ish cushion, quite small, that can be placed around the different parts of the body to use. Okay, so I hope that helps. Obviously, the other thing, most of my classes that you would need is a chair so that you can use that chair as a bar. If you don't have a chair, then you can use a kitchen counter surface top, so long as you've got space around you. And at the worst case scenario, then you use a wall and place your hand against the wall, okay? And then finally, my weighted gloves. They're quite tricky to get hold of at the moment. I will put a link up to where I get mine from if people are interested. And that's the other part of my kit list, but it's not an essential. I hope that was helpful. Any questions, obviously, as usual, give me a quick DM and ask me, and I will try and get back to you as quickly as I can. Enjoy.